We hope you had a fantastic holiday and you're looking forward to a new year, which is just right around the corner. We wanted to bring you up to date on some critical information, some very important information here at the year end, some things centered around this new relief package. If you're not familiar with it, it's the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 and was signed by President Trump yesterday, as a matter of fact, on Sunday. And so that information now is out. It's been approved. It's going to take effect. And with some of it, we're going to have to wait for some of the rules making process to take effect throughout 2021 to give you final information. But there's some keys that we want you to know today. We've been talking a lot about the Medicare fee cuts and those looming cuts that are coming for 2021. We've been asking you to ask Congress, and we've been asking Congress, of course, to fix that problem and eliminate the budget neutrality, at least through the next several years. They went a slightly different route. In fact, they went an entirely different route, but they did address it a little bit in this relief package. And what they did was they made three changes in regards to Medicare fees. The first is they instituted a new budgetary allowance for Medicare in the tune of about $3 billion. Which then gives the ability to be able to give a 3.75% increase. Now, don't get excited because we believe that is based on the language. It's based on 2021 fee schedule. So they took 2020 fee schedule for chiropractic physicians. The average cut was about 10%, and then of course take that and add another 3.3 or 3.75%. And that's what we're talking about now. There's some other allocations and changes that were made in this that could impact the fee schedule. So if you don't see that fee schedule right now from NGS or from Medicare, there's a reason. It's because it's now with this new Appropriations Act, it's been completely, it's going to have to be revamped, and they'll release that soon. We're making the same recommendations this year that we've made in the past when we had the problem with the SGR and when all the fees were changing towards the beginning of the year. Your participating provider, you can continue to bill Medicare at your standard fee, which you bill normally everyone, and they'll do the standard write down when that fee schedule is finalized. Non-participating providers, a bit more of a challenge. Our first recommendation is just simply wait. Otherwise, you'll have to accept the 2021 fee schedule as it was previously available, but you may not be able to get that. So at this stage, we still would recommend that you just simply wait until that fee schedule is finalized if you're a non-par provider. As far as what you would collect from your patient, that's going to be a tougher one because you don't have that figure, and we know that there's a reduction coming. We just don't know how much. So you can base it on 2020's fee schedule and just reduce the amount you collect from your patient by about 10%. But make sure that they know beyond any shadow of any doubt that there very well may be a refund or additional monies requested in the future. Or again, just simply wait to collect from them until that fee schedule is final. Participating providers, again, you can just bill your standard fees and continue to bill Medicare business as usual in a sense, right? So what else did they do? Well, they eliminated one of the new HCPCS codes, the G2211 code, which dealt with office visit complexity. And that was about a $3 billion hit to the budget. And so they actually delayed that implementation of that particular code for a number of years and could further impact fees. Again, we don't know. And then Medicare sequestration, the delay on that, which started at the beginning of the pandemic, they extended through March 31st. So that's another change in regards to Medicare fee schedule. So as far as the Medicare fee schedule, just hold off, and then also know that the sequestration, the 2% reduction in those payments is going to be delayed again until at least April 1st. So there is that as far as the Medicare fee schedules. What else was dealt with? Well, several things in regards to the Paycheck Protection Program. It included the taxing of the allocated expenses. The IRS ruled that those couldn't be used to reduce your taxable income. Congress reversed that. So now nothing in relation to the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program loans or forgiveness is going to be taxable at this stage. Both the funds that you receive and also then the expenses you use to allocate, none of those will be impacted by tax implications. And so that's really good news. Additionally, they had also indicated that your forgiveness was going to be reduced on those PPPs is going to be reduced by the EIDL advancement, that grant that you received up front if you got an EIDL loan, and that has been eliminated as well. And so the forgiveness is going to allow you to not have to reduce it by that EIDL forgiveness at the beginning or that advance payment as well. Now, additionally, then they allocated another large sum of money, $285 billion, for what they're calling PPP2. And that basically is going to be allocated for new loans as well as additional amounts that you may now be eligible for that you weren't eligible before. When you take into some new considerations, especially surrounding some of your payroll multiplier instead of 2.5, 3.5, some things along those lines. So we encourage you to take a closer look at that as well, because there could be some additional funds if you didn't get everything that maybe you could get now. You can go back, and it's also for those who may not have gotten it before. They're reopening that program. Watch for some of the SBA announcements. We'll try to keep you informed as far as that goes as it progresses here in the coming weeks. Right now, of course, we're waiting. We got to wait on the SBA to deal with a lot of that and put out some more information and FAQ changes and things along those lines. Provider relief funds, and this is another big one. So, there was a large chunk of money set out for providers. Some of that has not been distributed. They added another $3 billion and then directed HHS to part with some of that money that they had previously allocated in CARES. And so we expect that there's going to be another round of provider relief funds. The most recent one, we had a large number of doctors who didn't participate. I will tell you that from what we're hearing from many of our doctors that did participate, it was a mistake not to participate. In other words, when this next round comes out, please don't sit back and just not do anything. You want to make sure that you participate in that next round. Additionally, the calculation of revenue is also dealt with, whereas they defined revenue in a really strange way. We've talked about this before in previous videos and also in their article, in that many of our doctors, what they required was for these provider relief funds that you account for it with only your losses and as far as net income is concerned. It wasn't Congress's intent, so they clarified and dealt with it and made sure that they defined revenue appropriately. And so it's losses in your revenue based on either 2019 or your budgeted amount for 2020. And those rules also will be coming out in further definitions and clarifications from SBA, and we'll let you know when those things are out as well. Another big provision for chiropractic, and this is really actually a big one, and it deals with non-discrimination. So provider non-discrimination was dealt with in the Affordable Care Act in Section 2706. You've heard us talk about this for years and years and years. And HHS would never formally adopt any rules associated with this provider non-discrimination. And Congress now has specifically directed them by the end of 2021. They have to have introduced and formalized some rules. It'll take a little bit longer to finalize them. They have to be final by, I believe it's July of 2021. We'll keep you informed as some of those rules begin to percolate in the coming 12 months and let you know what that looks like. We're excited to finally that we may see some rules that can help us with enforcement to ensure that doctors of chiropractic are treated more equally as providers, and make sure that all of that's taken care of. And lastly, there's some surprise billing restrictions that are in place now. We believe that the vast majority of those restrictions are not going to necessarily apply to many, not all necessarily, but most of our practices aren't going to have to be concerned with this. We may have you add some clarifying language to your financial policies, but again, we've got some time. A lot of that doesn't get enacted until January 1st of 2022. So we'll, in the next year, let you know what some of the details are for the surprise billing restrictions as well. Those are the major things that are dealt with in this bill, and we have more information in our more in-depth article. You can jump out online and take a look at that, and hopefully that brings you up to date, and we'll catch you next.